Alright, what's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Series 12 team building video, and today we're taking a look at Zacian and Kyogre. So in the previous video we were looking at Groudon, right? But now we got to take a look at Kyogre. We got a few Kyogre teams lined up here just before the format starts. And again, if you're interested in team fixing, where you, the viewer, get to submit a team to me and have me fix it and optimize the EV spreads, that is a tier 2 sub on the channel, so take a look at that. Or you can do team building, which is a tier 3 sub, where I and you will sit in the Discord call and we'll build the team from scratch and hash out the EVs and test it out a little bit on Showdown. All right, but right now we're looking at Zacian Kyogre here. So what we're gonna do is keep it relatively standard here with a pretty standard 6. No crazy mon choice text here, but what we are gonna do is show you two variations of the squad where we have the same 6 mons but slightly different sets, and that may affect the way you play the team a little bit. All right, but for the most part, you know, if you're a beginner and you want to play competitive, you know, the two teams that I would recommend are that Sun team that we made in the previous video, or even this one, Zacian Kyogre team. Just a very straightforward, hyper offensive team with tailwind support from the Tornadus. So yeah, I mean, the job of this kind of team is to always put on pressure, whether it's the Kyogre doing it, the Zacian doing it, or one of the other mons doing it in the back here. So let's just round out the rest of the team. We are going to use Incineroar. This is our Intimidate, Spammer, Cycler. This is good against other Zacians, good against Calyrex Ice, and you know, good against basically any physical restricted, like Groudon also. Or even Landorus, just to neuter their, you know, their attack stat. And we also have Fake Out Pressure with the Incineroar, so that's always good. And then from here, you know, there's always like an electric type on this team, so we are going to put Regieleki here. And then finally, there's always like some grass type. I've seen Venusaur on a particular team. I think that's good, and I kind of like that. You know, just because, you know, basically Venusaur on a Sun team gets the benefit of the speed, right, with the chlorophyll, but you know, there's no sun here, but you still get tailwind. So in essence, it's the same thing. And you know, on a Kyogre team, it's pretty good because the rain will mitigate that fire damage, right? And then you could go like Focus Sash here and then put a Life Orb here, or Cobra Berry here, and then you know, just you could have the Venusaur as a good Dynamax option, right? But for this particular thing, we'll go Amoongus here. All right, and of course we're going to keep it as Regenerator. So this is the 6, right? It's a very standard 6, and you might say, oh, this is a little boring, right? But we'll mix it up a little bit with some interesting sets here, all right, and some EVs and speed tiers. So we got the 6, so let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs. So there's the Amoongus, there's the Regieleki, there's the Tornadus, and there's the Incineroar. All right, so now let's just go ahead and hash out the EVs, the items, and the movesets. Alright, so starting with Zacian here. So because we are going to be hyper offensive, I think we should go Adamant here, in all honesty. But actually what I want to do first is oh wow, that went to 0 attack. How did that happen? What I want to do first is actually do the move sets first before we start doing EVs. So Behemoth Blade is good, and then now from here you kind of have to start thinking about, okay, you know, do I want a fine, but like you obviously want Protect, right? But then from here, I think now is the time where you have to start considering Play Rough, and just because of the other dragon restricteds that are running around, like a Rayquaza, like a Palkia, for example. So, and you want to have something to hit that with, and I think the Ice move on the Kyogre is not always enough, so the Play Rough is going to come. And then from here, you could either run the fighting move like Close Combat, or Sacred Sword, or even the Swords Dance tech. And I think we're gonna go Swords Dance here, just because, you know, remember, we play greedy on this channel. We like our Amoongus Zacian lead, click redirection, click Swords Dance, right? Because the thing is, you know, if we put the sash on this thing, which we are gonna do, by the way, if we put the sash, all right, and let's say they double into the Amoongus, we get a free Swords Dance, then we bring in Tornadus in from the back, And even if we're like a little bit slower than some of the other mons that they have, like a Calyrex or maybe their own Tailwind user, we can bring in our own our own Tornadus in the back, click Tailwind, and now we have a +3 Zacian that can just one-shot things, which also includes your max, right? So that's what I kind of like with the Amoongus. All right, for the Kyogre, I do like, again, Mystic Water. This is always a consistent item, and then Water Spout is always good, and then sometimes your health gets low, and then Origin Pulse is gonna help with that when you want to click a high damaging water move, and then Ice Beam is good, and then Protect. Now, what's also good with the Amoongus, actually I'll talk about it when we get to the Amoongus in terms of the Kyogre, but the Tornadus here, what we're gonna do is I also did this in Series 10, where I went Life Orb Torn. And I really like Life Orb Tornadus. This is going to be one of the main max options on the team, is because, you know, sometimes you don't always have the luxury of going for Tailwind, and what's also better is you get like a stab max airstream with Life Orb, and it's pretty good. And you know, base 125 special attack is actually really nice, and you also get base 111 speed, and you can always give your Kyogre speed boost this way with max airstreams, right? And if you click it 3 times, that's better than like a Tailwind, right? So that's always really nice. So we are gonna go Tailwind here. Now, of course, Hurricane, which is really good in the rain, becomes 100% accurate, and with Life Orb, now you can one-shot a lot of those grass types like a Rillaboom, which really pressures Kyogre, and you can even go into those Venusaurs even if they have a Cobra Berry, it's still gonna hurt a lot. So yeah, definitely go with the Hurricane on Tornadus. Now from here, I think Icy Wind is pretty cool. You know, just to be able to have again, like if they have Tornadus and you have Tornadus, the speeds are equal, right? But then you go for Icy Wind instead, right? So if they go for Tailwind, what I would do is I would go Icy Wind. So this way you can drop their speed to a -1. I'm sorry, just to a +1 instead of a +2. And then on your turn, you can go for your Tailwind. So now you have the speed advantage, because then you'll be +1, right? Now here you can run Protect, which is fine. But I think what you can also do is you can run Dark Pulse. And I kind of like this tech on Tornadus, because now what you could do is Dynamax this, go for max Darkness plays, drop special defenses, and now Kyogre and Regieleki both hit like a truck. So I do like that option. I've seen something like this where you have Weather Ball, which, you know, turns into max Geyser or max Flare if it's against Sun teams. I think that's also pretty cool, and in some builds you might use this, but I'll show this on like the second variation. But for now, I do like the Dark Pulse option. You might even have both technically, but yeah. Anyway, so Zacian, Kyogre, Tornadus, we got the moves there. Incin, you know, if we don't run safety goggles, we kind of get bodied by Venusaur a little bit. So I do like that on the Incin. Flare Blitz is relatively standard. Fake Out, of course. Parting Shot, and Throat Chop, right? So this is always relatively standard. And then Regieleki. We're gonna go Magnet here, so this is gonna be a Violent Regieleki, which means you could potentially Dynamax this as well. Alright, so from here, you know, Electroweb, Speed Control, you know, very important VGC, Thunderbolt, Stab Electric move, single target, Volt Switch, your pivot move, and then Protect. You know, so what's also cool is, you know, because you have a Regieleki, you can always pivot into your Kyogre or Tornadus, and then, you know, just get into a good position where you could potentially sweep the other team. So, you know, you could lead Kyogre, Regieleki, you know, get that speed control with Electroweb. You could pivot out into Tornadus, and then go for the Tailwind the next turn. And then same thing, you know, you could lead Incineroar, where you have like both pivoters, and see if you could get one into a more favorable spot. Like I would go, you know, even like Electroweb, and then, you know, Parting Shot, and then go into like a Tornadus if you want to dodge like a Max Quake or something, and then have like either Kyogre or Zacian in the back. But yeah, you have multiple options when you have like Incineroar, Tornadus on the team. And then for the Amoongus, relatively standard set here. So Rage Powder, Pollen Puff, what was I going? Spore, of course, and then Protect. So this is what gives you that Trick Room matchup, because, you know, if, you know, they're bringing their Incineroars and Mimikyus with Calyrex Ice Rider in the back, you can have your Amoongus in the back, and if they do get the Trick Room off, you can just switch in your Amoongus next turn and say, haha, now I have the slowest thing on the field. So what I've done in the past with these kinds of teams is I've done like Timid Amoongus, you know, and we go like Turbo Shroom, because then you go for Tailwind Fast Spores, and I think that's kind of cool. You know, if you don't like it, you can just go with this bulky build that I'm going to show you here, which is I think it's, what is it? Damn it, I forgot. Oh, it's Sassy. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is what we're going to run. So we got the move sets here, and the items, right? Yeah. So now let's go ahead and do the EVs. So since we're on the Amoongus, I'll stay with the Amoongus. So I'm just going to go first bump here in the special defense department. And then from here you can go almost max HP, where you go to 219 and you optimize your HP for regenerator bonus, and then from here you can just dump the rest in your defense. I think that's always a relatively standard Amoongus. If you want to go second bump, then you can just go like this, where you have 156 speed F and then 116 defense. So I think that's also pretty cool. But for me, I just like first. I always like this one. You know, this what lets me take Behemoth Blades a little bit better, and even like Flare Blitzes from Incineroar. So I always like a bulkier on the defensive side of the Amoongus. But yeah. So here with the Regieleki, we are magnet. We're not going to go 252. Usually when I have a Regieleki on a Tornadus team, you know, I tend to make it bulkier, because I'm already like super fast. Well, why do I need to max this? All right, if I'm not Sash, you know, if I'm going to be a prime damage dealer, that's already like the fastest thing, I'm gonna go a different route here. So I'm gonna go modest. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put enough speed where after a +1, like either from Icy Wind or Electro Web, I can outspeed base 100s even after they are +1. And then from here I can just go for almost full special attack here. But again, what I'm really aiming for is the bulk, and there's some interesting damage calcs with this bulk that I'm adding here, and I'll show it to you when we get to the damage calc section of the video. But for now, just take my word for it. This bulk is always very good on Regieleki. I always run this kind of spread on a Tailwind team with my Regieleki, and I'll show you what it calcs for. It calcs for two things, right? So you'll have to keep on watching the video to know what those are. I'm not gonna tell you now, because then you'll learn the secret and then you'll just turn off the video. All right, we can't be having that. We got to make you watch all of this. All right, so then from here, the Incineroar, I'm just gonna go with my normal Incineroar spread. I've seen my Incin spread pop up quite a bit on some of these teams on Twitter, and I say, you know what, that looks like my Incineroar. So it's good to see my influence spreading a little bit. But I always like, again, first EV bump on the careful side, and then I always like to go max, not max speed, I'm sorry, pretty fast Incineroar with 95 speed. And again, the reason for this is, you know, if you go for Throat Chop, you're gonna have the faster Throat Chop, and then they can't go for their Parting Shot, right? And the other reason is your Parting Shot goes last in Trick Room, right? Because in Trick Room they get off their Parting Shot first, and then you can do your Parting Shot on whatever it is they swap in, like a Zacian, for example, or some Calyrex thing, and then you can get in whatever you want. So that's always my reasoning with a faster Incineroar. You give up a little bit of bulk, but not too much. But then from here, I just go, you know, pretty much enough bulk where you can live a close combat from a Zacian after intimidating it, bringing it down to neutral. So that's what this calcs for. All right, now for the Torn. So basically the Torn, we're just optimizing it for Life Orb chip. So we're just gonna go Timid here. All right, yes, we're gonna go max speed because we don't want to lose the Torn speed tie. But again, I'm just gonna optimize my HP just so that I can get that maximum optimization from Life Orb, because 159 divided by 10 from the Life Orb is 15.9. And if you round it down, 15.9 becomes 15. So you're taking 15 damage per turn, but you have a little bit more HP to work with, right? You have about 5 more. So that makes a difference between, living and dying. So yeah, that's the reasoning here. And then Kyogre. So what a lot of Kyogre spreads aim to do, especially if they're modest, they just aim to outspeed Regieleki after Tailwind, right? And that's pretty good. However, if you do this, you're going to be speed tying those ogres, and we can't be having that. So on this channel, we go one higher. We're 140. All right, we're not losing speed ties, okay? On this channel, we win our speed ties, okay? No, we're not losing those speed ties, okay? And then from here, just pretty much the third bump on the special attack stat with our modest nature. And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are, I've been mentioning EV bumps a lot already. If you don't know what it is, comment in the video. I explain it quite often, and I don't feel like I don't mind explaining it as much as I need to, because you need to understand this, because it's all part of competitive play. And then from here, just do 4/4 and then the rest in your HP stat, and that's pretty much it. All right, it's a fast, modest Kyogre that can outspeed speed creepers for Regieleki. All right, and then finally our Zacian here. So Zacian, you can do a couple things here. You could make it first bump, which is 76, or you can go second bump, which is 156, but then go one more, which is 164. So this way, you get a nice even number when you click Swords Dance. And then what I always like to do is I optimize this for the weather. So I just go 188. So I bring it up to 191, because if you do some quick math here, 191 divided by 16 is 11.9, so that rounds down to 11. And then you could just do it like this, right? 4 and then 140 investment, and now your speed is at 187. And what that also lets you do is, if you do another quick math set, that lets you outspeed Regieleki after a -1 from either Icy Wind or your own Electro Web. So you could do it like this. This is totally fine, and I think this is what we want, but I'm gonna go a little bit bulkier here, and a little bit faster. So what I'm gonna do is something like this, where I'm gonna go up to here, so you hit just as hard as a Jolly Zacian. So first bump is right here, which is 76, and then I just go like this. So now you have, again, a little bit of an even number, and you hit just as hard as a Jolly Zacian. And then I'm just gonna go to 190, right? I just want to outspeed those speed creepers here. So 190 is a good number to hit. And then from here, you could just divide up this bulk. So you can just go 28 here and then 28 here, right? So there's no calc for this, right? So sometimes your Zacian will live on like 1 or 2 HP because you have a little bit more extra bulk that your opponent's not calcing for. Like, let's be honest, when you go in your damage calculator, you're not calcing for this. You're calcing for 252, 252 Zacian. Let's be honest here. All right, there's no one that's gonna put 188 HP, 28 defense, 28 spells defense. There's no one out there. Who's gonna do that? All right, me, only me. But yeah, anyway, for the Jolly Zacian, yeah, you can totally do 252, 252 if you want. But if you like the first spread where I showed you that one, that's also pretty good. We'll put that in the second version just to give you some options on what kind of Zacian you want to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we have this this first version. So let's upload this paste. All right, so yeah, again, I really like this Life Orb Torn. I think it's pretty good, and especially with this Icy Wind and Dark Pulse tech, it's really nice. And then you have the bulky modest Regieleki that can live a certain things that I will show in the damage calc section. You have our standard Incineroar spread. Our Amoongus is also pretty good in trick. Oh, did I not make it 0 speed? Hold on a second. Yeah, I didn't make it 0 speed. Hold up. Woohoo! All right, let's do this again. All right, and then our Kyogre can outspeed those Regieleki Kyogre speed. Those Kyogre speed creepers that want to outspeed creep Regieleki. I can't even say it right anymore. But yeah, this is one version. So now let's look at a second version where we have the same 6, but let's adjust the sets. So this way we give you some options. Okay, so this is going to be our second version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change a couple of sets here, but some of them are going to stay the same. So our Incineroar is going to be the same, our Amoongus is going to be the same, and our Kyogre is going to be the same. The main variance here is with the Zacian, the Tornadus, and the Regieleki. So one thing you can do with the Zacian is this. So because you kind of don't have that fighting move, and you might struggle against like Dialga or some of the other steel types, for example. But you know, if you want something for like Dialga, you might go like close combat or even Sacred Sword. I think these are good moves to have, especially if you're a more offensive Zacian like this. But what I would do also, yeah, so you can go with that fighting move, so you don't need the Swords Dance. But now with the speed, what I would do is this. So, you know, you kind of want to have right around this much investment, right? So the reason for this is Venusaur, right? If it's max speed, it'll go to 290, and you want to be able to at least outspeed it after a +1 on your end or -1 on their end. So what you can do is go to 194 in your speed, and then you can outspeed Venusaur's in the sun after you have that +1 or -1 with your Electroweb or Tailwind or Max Airstream, for example. So I think that's worth it. And then from here, again, we're still gonna optimize our bulk like this, and then, you know, right here, and then just from here, just split it up, you know, 12 and 12. And this is our faster Zacian with still a pretty good HP book. Like, we still didn't change the HP, right? All we did was take a little bit off the defenses and special defenses, and we made it a little bit faster, right? Just for that reason, for Venusaur. Kyogre, we said it stays the same. Okay, so the Torn, what you can do here is, instead of putting the Life Orb on the Torn, you could go with the Focus Sash here. All right, and instead of Dark Pulse, what I think you can also do is something like the Weather Ball tech. Or you can also go with the Heat Wave tech, but that's wheat. Heat Wave, which is also pretty good against sun teams, but I still like the Weather Ball because that becomes max flare in the sun anyway. So I think that's also pretty cool. I think Joe showed this in his video, so the other Joe. So shout out to him. But yeah, I also like this. So if you have Weather Ball, this could be max Geyser, max flare, max Rockfall, for example. Or even max Hailstorm, because, you know, if or even like an ice move, for example. So I think that's kind of good, and you know, your opponent won't really expect it so much. So this one we can just go like 252, 252. Like there's no problem with this if we're sash on the Torn. But then here, if for our Incin, it'll actually just stay the same. Okay, so with the Regieleki, so now you can put the Life Orb here. Okay, and this becomes a primary max option, and Life Orb Regieleki hurts. So what you can do is still have the Electroweb, but now you're gonna go with another speed control option with Hyper Beam. All right, and Rising Voltage is our thing. So now with this, you lose the pivot option with the Volt Switch, but you're not pivoting if you're Dynamaxing, right? So there's this. Now from here, you're gonna optimize your HP for the Life Orb chip, and there's two EVs that you want for this. So either you could just go like 159, but I think you want more bulk than this. You could go to 169 HP where you have 108 investment, or you can go to 188 HP and have up to 179 instead of 169. So this way you take 17 points of damage per turn. So that's always pretty good. And then from here, you could just go like second bump special attack, you know, 156. All right, so 152, then it becomes 154. All right, and then from here, just, you know, you could even dump the rest in speed, something like this. Or you can make it a little bit slower, you know, go to 235 or even like 132, and then just put the rest in like Spadef, or, you know, again, split it up evenly, something like this. All right, this also works out. Nothing wrong with this, but yeah. And then I think I kept the Amoongus the same. Yeah, so I would just go something like this. So this one, you put the Sash on the Torn, the Life Orb on the Regieleki. We adjusted the Zacian speed tier, and we gave it the fighting move. So this is another version of the same 6 that also works. And now we also have Weather Ball on the Torn, so something to also consider. And again, you can still max the Torn, right? Because you can still go for, you know, your max airstreams and whatnot. But the Aleki becomes the primary max option here on a squad like this. Or you can even max the Kyogre as well. You know, the Kyogre becomes still a good max option, and then Zacian just cleans up in the back, right? So yeah, so there's both teams. So now let's go into the damage calculator where I can show you just a few calcs, nothing too crazy, but yeah, and then we'll go into the sample battles. All right, so let's start with that Regieleki bulk that I mentioned. So this is the magnet set, and let me show you two things that it calcs for. So the first one is this one, where you have the Rillaboom. Again, the strongest Rillaboom with Miracle Seed 252, 252, Grassy Terrain, Grassy Glide. The Regieleki will live. All right, as weird as that sounds, and as frail as you know the Regieleki, it survives a Rillaboom, Miracle Seed, 252, Grassy Glide. Look, you see it on your screen. Okay, guaranteed 2-hit KO. I think that's kind of nuts that it can live that. And then you can always Volt Switch out, deal some damage first, and then, you know, live. And then also, what's his name? Urshifu, right? So Urshifu, not black glasses. Let's say it had none. Like if this was Focus Sash, you live a Wicked Blow. Imagine that, you know, Regieleki living the Wicked Blow from an Urshifu. I mean, yeah, it is Sash, but yeah, that's also very common. So two things that Regieleki can definitely live, and I think that's worth investing, especially when you go modest. All right, let's look at a couple more. Okay, so this one is the Amoongus spread that we have with our defensive bulk. So you can take a Behemoth Blade from Zacian, so I think that's also worth calcing for. This is a standard 252 Jolly Zacian, and also if there's an Incineroar on the field, most Incineroars are like, you know, careful or even impish, but they don't have attack, right? So you still live the Flare Blitz, and again, it only does about 88% max roll, right? So you'll take a Flare Blitz and then take another hit, and then, you know, just bring in whatever you have in the back. So cool way to live the Amoongus, with the Amoongus, right? And remember, we are Sash on the first build, so that's always really nice. All right, this is one that I've shown a lot, especially in Series 10, but this is our Incineroar spread, and again, we're not even impish, right? So the Zacian, the close combat, it kills you, right? But if you just intimidate it and bring it back down to neutral, now you definitely live the close combat from full, right? So if turn 1 they lead their Zacian, you lead your Incin. If they just go for broke and go for the close combat, you're gonna live. So, and then you can KO them right back with the Flare Blitz. So, and then make them feel sad. But not too many people fall for it. But if they do decide to do it, you have the calc at hand. So yeah, there's the Incin spread. All right, so this is the Sun matchup. So Kyogre versus Groudon. You're gonna be encountering this a lot. So he has a Whimsicott, he has a Grimmsnarl. So I feel like one of those is gonna lead. I don't see, the thing is, I don't know about having two grass types like this, but yeah, again, this is just a Tornadus lead for sure. But now, you know, what do you lead with it? If you bring the Kyogre, then he can just bring the Groudon in the back, or even lead with it, and then he gets the Sun. So Kyogre's coming in the back, but what's leading? You know, I could lead the Goggles Incin and intimidate the Groudon, or even put pressure on the Venusaur. But I decide not to do it. I decide to go with Tornadus and Zacian, just put immediate pressure, and then have Kyogre in the back along with the Aleki, just so that I have something for the Zard. Now, you might say it's a little weird, there's a Groudon, but, you know, I feel like he has to kind of bring the Zard here, you know, just to try and deal damage to the Zacian. I don't think the Groudon's enough, so here we go. So he leads the Whimsicott, and he leads the Groudon, and I go with the Torn, and I go with the Zacian. So this would have been good with Incin, like Incin plus something, but it's okay. Tornadus and Zacian. Now he can go for Tailwind, I can go for Tailwind, but then the Zacian gets first dibs, but we're not going to kill the Groudon, and the Groudon can kill me, right? So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go for the Protect play and go for the Icy Wind. This way I can go for Tailwind next turn, right? So there's my Protect, and he actually also protects too, which is also fine. So he goes for his Tailwind, and then I go for the Icy Wind, right? And remember, this is Life Orb Torn, so that's good on the Whimsicott. So now the Whimsicott is only +1. So now I can go for my Tailwind, and then I'll have an extra turn in the end, right? But I just want to weaken the Groudon as much as possible. So he goes for Swords Dance, so that's very greedy. But now, again, I go for another Icy Wind and just remove the Whimsicott in general. So I didn't need to go for my own Tailwind yet. And now he only has 2 turns of Tailwind, and now I can click Tailwind, right? So I can just fake out the Eleki, go for my own Tailwind. Alright, there's the fake out, and there's my Tailwind, and he can go for his P-Blades, but that's fine. And now we're in a very, very good spot, because now we just bring in the Kyogre. Now this is a really good spot, but now this is where I misplayed it a little bit. I forgot he still had 1 more turn. All I had to do was just protect here and let him kill the Torn, and then bring in the Zacian, and the game is over. But I forgot to read, and he still had 1 turn of Tailwind, so he maxed the Eleki, which is fine. But then I went for Water Starver, but then I forgot he still had 1 turn of Tailwind, so he was faster than my Kyogre. But that's okay, because then I just click Airstream. Now he could have clicked Rock Slide here, but I don't know why he didn't. And he could have killed my Torn, and then all I would have left is like a Zacian. But yeah, that was a reading mistake, but I get the benefit of the doubt here. Now I just kill everything. And now what is he? Oh, he has a Zard. Well, I have a Eleki in the back, so that's still okay. Oh no, I didn't bring it this game. I had it in the other game. But yeah, there's nothing really the opponent can do here, except click forfeit. So there's my last turn of Tailwind, and Hurricane is 100% accurate in the rain, and the Torn lived the entire game. And this was our max option. So yeah, if I just read the text, but you know, Showdown makes it so big, I forgot he had 1 turn of Tailwind. I could have just protected the Kyogre, like I said, and been fine. But he maxed the Eleki, right? That might have killed through the protect. I'm not sure, but yeah, that was still okay. Now we'll just go on to the next one. Okay, this one was kind of funny, right? So I was actually just talking about this matchup with Neil, and you know, he always says you know, the instant Mimikyu, you know, we always say 99% of the time you get Trick Room up, but well, the one time where you're under pressure is when there's 2 leads that have spread moves, right? So it's so funny. We were talking about this like the hour before. So you know, Kyogre Eleki actually can just steamroll this. So here's the thing. Yeah, he can click Trick Room, but I can kill the Mimikyu right here, right now. But the problem is the instant has to guess, because I can max one of these, and if he guesses wrong, the game is over. So so what do you think I do? Yes, I do max the Eleki. He probably fakes out that one, and he guessed wrong. So now he just dies. So you know, we break the disguise, and now we click the funny button called Water Spout, and both of his mons die, and that's pretty much all she wrote. He probably has Calyrex in the back, and Zacian just eats that. So that's what I mean, right? So if you just lead Kyogre Eleki, you can just dominate him, and he gets wrong. Like to me, if I see this lead, I'm faking out the Kyogre more times than not, because you know, you want to at least keep your Incin alive, right? You don't want it to at least to die to the Water Spout, even if you get it right. So you know, he paid for it there, and then there's my Let's Go Neil thing. All right, so let's go to another one. All right, this one's a little silly here. So I mean, I don't know why we're leading the I don't know why we have the Zekrom Zacian combo here, but he's going for it, and there's another Whimsicott, and there's a Zards, right? So there's probably Sunny Day on this Whimsicott at some sort, and the Obstagoon is probably for the Incineroar, and probably for Calyrex as well. And I guess the Escavalier is like for the Trick Room matchup, I would assume. Not sure why it's here, but anyway, this is still okay with the Tornadus Kyogre lead, just to put pressure right off the bat. And he has Zekrom here, so here's the thing. Here's why I do what I do. If he has a Charizard, right? This makes me think the Zard has the Life Orb, which means this Zekrom does not have the Life Orb. So I don't care if you're special or physical Zekrom, your Max Lightning is not killing Max Kyogre. So I'm going to max the Kyogre in front of his base, and he actually maxes the Zekrom, which is kind of funny. So there's his Tailwind. Here's my Tailwind. All right, goes for max lightning. So that tells me he's faster. So he's probably like 252 Zekrom. But then there's my max hailstorm, and we break a Whimsicott Sash if it had it. So here's the Zacian now. The Zacian's the faster thing now. So we have the play rough, we can take that out, and then we always have Max Geyser on the Whimsicott if he decides to switch, or if he decides to click Sunny Day, I can just reset the weather with the Max Geyser. Alright, so he actually does go for the Sunny Day, which is actually funny, but we killed the Zekrom anyway, and there's the Max Geyser, and we change the weather right back. And here's his Zacian. So this is pretty easy. I mean, he's the faster Zacian, I'm the bulkier one, so I get rid of him, his Whimsicott. So, and he just gives me the free Zacian kill, and that's pretty much all she wrote, because the Zard can't really do anything here. There's my Behemoth Blade, and he goes for the Hurricane. He goes for the Kyogre kill instead, but now I bring in the Regieleki, and I tell him to click the forfeit button, and that's exactly what he did. Alright, so that was actually kind of cool. So yeah, that's why I did what I did. I know the Zekrom doesn't have the Life Orb. I know the Zard has it on this team. So let's look at one more. Okay, so now let's look at the other version of the team we made. So this is the one with the Sash, Tornadus, Life Orb, Regieleki, and I failed to put it in the Pokepaste when I was showing it, but this Amoongus is actually Cobra Berry. Alright, so let's see how we go with this. So he has the Serena here. This looks like Series 10, in all honesty. But yeah, so I'm going with Torn. I'm going with Regieleki. I'm just going to lead damage right off the bat. There's a Sableye and there's a Zacian. So this could be Quash shenanigans, but, you know, honestly, I'm just going to max the Regieleki here and have no fear. So he fakes out the Regieleki. I would have faked out the Torn, but here's the Max Lightning. Goodbye, Zacian, right? So maybe I could have clicked even like Icy Wind. But there's the Quash. All right, Max Strike just for speed control, or just something to click that's, you know, not resisted. And he goes for the triple Axle here. So Tailwind was the correct call, you know, just so that now, okay, here's the Kyogre, and he maxes the Serena, which is actually kind of funny. So he quashes the Regieleki. So there's my Water Spout. The Sableye doesn't have the Sash, so that tells me the Regieleki is the Sash. And there's the bulk on the Regieleki, right? We take the Serena Max Overgrowth, and I'm just trying to set up the terrain here. But yeah, here's the Kyogre. Even if he protects, that's fine, because I'm pretty confident that the Water Spout from the Kyogre just kills Serena, and it does. So that was a great protect on the Kyogre's end, but what could he do? He was pinned. So yeah, Dynamax Regieleki, Life Orb, hits like a truck, and that's what won me the game. Alright, so now again, this is the first version of the squad we make, and again, it's a relatively standard 6, but again, it's all about the sets that make the difference. This is the Life Orb Torn with the Icy Wind and the Dark Pulse Tex, and the Regieleki is very bulky with this modest EV spread, and so is the Zacian. We are adamant as well. And then if we look at the second one, which actually it still didn't have the Cobra Berry. Hold on a second. Let me go back in here. And let me go and put, oh, it does have it. Wait a minute. All right, there it is. All right, now we have the Cobra Berry. So there's the Cobra Berry on the Amoongus, the Tornadus Sash, and we have the Weather Ball tech if we do like to use it. It's pretty cool against weather teams as well. And this is the Life Orb Regieleki set that we went with. And our Zacian is a little bit faster just for the Venusaur matchup in Sun. You know, we can go for those -1s. And the Kyogre and the Incin pretty much stayed the same. So let me know which kind of sets you like, and which one you'll be trying. I would try both. I like both. But yeah, this is relatively standard, very easy to pilot, especially if you're a beginner just trying to learn how to play dual restricted format. I would go with this. So yeah, let me know what you think, and we'll be back with another video in the next one. Have a good one.